is Gudrun from GE Designs, home of the Stripology Ruler. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can trim a large panel to make sure it fits perfectly in the quilt you're making. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more quilting tips and tutorials. In this video, I'd like to show you how I trim a large panel to the size that I need. Here I have a typical 2 2/3 of a yard panel, so usually they are about 24 inches, but there are always a little bit of variation based on how the frame is. And I need to use this in a quilt where I need to cut it at 23.5 inches by 42.5. So I always like to start with the sides, and before I even bring out my ruler, I give the panel a really good steam press so that all the fibers are nicely aligned. And then I just want to see where that frame is. So I'm looking at this edge here where the white fabric is. And so right on that border, I want to make sure I'm aligning both sides. So I'm just kind of looking at this and making sure I'm aligning those lines, even though that results in my ends here being really crooked. But that goes all the way to the selvage, so I know I can trim that and not affect anything else. But what is important, we don't want this white border to show once I piece this into a quilt. So here's an easy way to do. So I've aligned the sides, I've created a fold down here on the bottom. So now I'm going to utilize my mat and place that fold right on a line here, so that I can use my Stripology XL Ruler. I'm then going to bring the other side over and find another line on my mat to create the second fold. So here I have a second fold, and now I can move this up a little bit. I'm going to bring in my XL Ruler. And the ruler, even though you see it is smaller than the piece that I'm trimming, I know that the ruler is 22 inches from edge to edge. So I need to trim something that's 23.5. I'm still going to utilize my full ruler because that's going to hold my piece in place. And also I'm going to use the horizontal lines on my ruler to make sure, first of all, that the two folds are perfectly parallel. And if they are not, I can adjust it just a little bit if I feel like the fold was a little off for me. And that way I know my trim is gonna be completely straight. So now it's looking very good. This line is aligned with a fold up here, and I have another line aligned with a fold down here. So this being 22 inches, I'm going to be using the help of just a small ruler to add to my kind of extending my ruler. So in this case, I want to be able to cut through a slit just to make sure that I'm not trimming something off. So I am going to, then I have only 21 inches to work with. So I need the help of adding the 2.5 inches with this ruler. So I am going to just place it here, and I'm going to be looking at that 2.5 inch line on this ruler, and then where my slit is, the 20-inch slit on this ruler, and I'm just testing out where those cuts are going to be. For example, here I know I can cut a little bit into the white, just as long as it's going to go into my seam. And then I look and see over here where that 2.5 inch line is. Now that one is extending into the actual design, so I can move this back just a little bit. So I move it back until I have the 2.5 inch line and the slit approximately in similar places. And once I have that all aligned, making sure my folds are still aligned, I can make that cut on this side first. I cut through my slit here, and then what I want to do is just turn the whole piece, and we're going to repeat it on the other side. Now this time I am going to be using the ruler. Now if you're left-handed, you would reverse this and do this from the other side most likely, but here now I can use this ruler, put that edge here that I cut on the 2.5 inch line on the ruler. And now we're going to get perfectly aligned on the other side and be able to cut through the slit again And now I have a piece that is 23.5 inches wide. So all that is left now is trimming the other side, which is going to be 42.5. So what I do, I go with half of that. Half of that is 21.25. So I'm going to fold this in half this way. 21.25 is the magic number. I have my ruler, and remember that's 22, so we need quite a bit less than that. And this is why I put these 1/4 inch lines on the lips of the ruler. If I move the ruler to the first 1/4 inch line, that dotted line, the first one in from the edge, now my ruler is 21.75. And so then I can go from there until I have 21.25, which is really the last dotted line next to the 0 slit. If I align that on this fold here, and then I want to make sure that I have another line aligned on the bottom fold, now I have my 42.5 or 21.25. Remember, this is folded. And now I can just cut on the edge of the ruler here, and I have my perfectly trimmed panel ready to sew into the quilt with the size that I needed.